The streets of Brazil's capital erupted in scenes that felt almost like carnival, but this time the celebration was not about samba or parades. Instead, it was about justice. Only a day earlier, the Supreme Federal Court handed down a historic verdict. Former President Jair Bolsonaro was sentenced to 27 years in prison for attempting a coup d'etat and undermining Brazil's democratic order. Alongside him, 7 co-defendants, including ex-ministers and senior military officials, received punishments ranging from 2 to 26 years behind bars. In Brasilia and Rio de Janeiro, jubilant citizens poured into the streets. They waved flags, played drums and trumpets, and embraced one another in relief. It was, for many, a defining moment, a sign that Brazil's institutions had stood firm against authoritarian temptation. Yet elsewhere, the mood was somber. Outside Bolsonaro's own residence, where the former president remains under house arrest, hundreds of his loyal supporters gathered in grief. They prayed, sang hymns, and held aloft banners pleading for his return. Those who rejoiced called it a milestone in Brazil's history. A camera operator named Luis Augusto captured the mood, saying, "It is a historic day because in few countries in the world have former presidents and high-ranking military officers been convicted and sentenced to more than 20 years in prison. We know they won't serve the full time, but this is still a historic day." Many others echoed that sense of vindication. Giovanna Lins, a teacher, pointed to the role of Justice Carmen Lucia in sealing the decision. In her words, her vote was enough to convict Bolsonaro and 7 others who committed numerous crimes in an attempt to abolish the democratic rule of law and stage a coup. This joy shows that our country wants something different. It does not want a coup. But for Bolsonaro's followers, the verdict was nothing less than heartbreaking. Women wept openly before national flags. Teachers and officers alike spoke of betrayal and injustice. Yvonne Lucado, a teacher and longtime supporter of the ex-president, said tearfully, "I believe that God will raise someone, and it will be Donald Trump, to rescue our president from this injustice." Standing beside her, military officer Washington Patrocinio added with conviction, "A feeling of extreme injustice, a condemnation of a man who gave his life for his country, who fought his entire life for Brazil." The scenes from across Brazil showed 2 nations at once. In one, citizens danced, smiled, and celebrated what they viewed as democracy's triumph. In the other, loyalists prayed in front of American flags, held signs reading "Come back, Bolsonaro," and called for divine rescue. Some saw justice, others saw persecution. The Supreme Federal Court's ruling was unequivocal. Bolsonaro's actions, the orchestration of a failed coup, the attempt to dismantle democratic safeguards, represented a direct threat to Brazil's constitutional order. Judges emphasized that no leader, however powerful, could place himself above the law. The lengthy sentence, they explained, was not merely punitive, but also preventive, a warning that Brazil will not tolerate the subversion of its democracy. Bolsonaro's defense, however, quickly struck back. Lawyers branded the ruling absurdly excessive and vowed to appeal, both in Brazil and on the international stage. Legal observers note that his team has 5 days to file a formal appeal once the decision is published. Whether such efforts can reduce his sentence or overturn the verdict remains uncertain, but the fight is far from over. Beyond the legal details, what matters most is the message this trial sends. For many Brazilians, the verdict represents closure, an end to years of turbulence and proof that democracy is stronger than any single politician. For Bolsonaro's base, it deepens mistrust of institutions, reinforcing their belief that their leader is a victim of political vengeance. And so Brazil stands divided. The streets of Rio fill with the sounds of drums and trumpets, like a carnival of justice. The avenues of Brasilia echo with prayers and tears as supporters kneel beneath foreign flags. Between these 2 images lies the struggle for Brazil's future. Will this conviction mark a turning point, reaffirming the supremacy of democratic institutions? Or will it further polarize a nation already deeply fractured? The answer will shape Brazil's political path for years to come. What is certain is this: the world is watching. Brazil has sent a clear signal that no former president, no matter his influence or following, is immune from accountability. Yet at the same time, millions of Brazilians remain loyal to Jair Bolsonaro, unwilling to accept the verdict as legitimate. This moment, suspended between triumph and despair, shows Brazil at a crossroads. A democracy has flexed its strength, but its unity remains fragile. For some, September 12th, 2025 will be remembered as the day Brazil finally drew a line against authoritarianism. For others, it will be remembered as the day their leader was unjustly silenced. In the end, one fact is undeniable: Brazil has entered a new chapter. And the legacy of this ruling, whether healing or divisive, will echo far beyond the walls of the Supreme Court, shaping the destiny of a nation still wrestling with its democratic soul.
Parecia um carnaval fora de época, mas era comemoração pela condenação de Jair Messias Bolsonaro, após o Supremo Tribunal Federal considerar o político e mais 7 réus culpados pela tentativa de golpe de Estado e outros crimes. Muitas pessoas foram às ruas de Brasília para celebrar. No Rio de Janeiro também houve música e alegria.
É um dia histórico, né? Porque nunca, assim, acho que em poucos países do mundo, ex-presidentes e militares de alta patente foram condenados, e ainda mais a mais de 20 anos de cadeia. A gente sabe que não vão ficar os 20 anos, mas é um dia histórico.
E o voto dela foi um voto suficiente para condenar o Bolsonaro e mais 7 pessoas que cometeram muitos crimes, entre eles a tentativa de abolição do Estado Democrático e de Direito, uma tentativa de golpe. E essa alegria mostra que o nosso país é outro, não é o do golpe.
Já entre os apoiadores de Bolsonaro, o clima era de tristeza. Muitas pessoas se reuniram nos arredores da casa do líder da direita em Brasília, onde ele cumpre prisão domiciliar.
E eu creio que Deus vai levantar alguém, e que seja Donald Trump, para resgatar o nosso presidente.
Queridos amigos, irmãos,
dessa
boa noite, na santa paz do Senhor.
Sentimento de extrema injustiça para uma condenação de um homem que deu a vida pela pátria, a vida inteira lutou pelo Brasil.
A primeira turma do STF também condenou os 7 co-réus junto com Bolsonaro, entre eles ex-ministros e chefes militares, apenas de entre 2 e 26 anos de prisão. A defesa de Bolsonaro adiantou que vai apelar da decisão, inclusive no âmbito internacional, ao considerar as penas absurdamente excessivas. Uma fonte do Supremo detalhou que a defesa tem 5 dias para apresentar os recursos após a publicação da decisão.